Okay, so humor me for a moment before we get on to the actual show. I'm not. I'm going to spoil things a little bit just because I don't want anyone to get confused while I'm doing my thing. This is not the next latest and greatest awesome audiophile thing. I found a very niche use for this, and within the perspective that I'm applying to it, I feel, in some instances, it would be good for that, and it might be worth a try for that. I'm not telling you to go out and buy this. In fact, for your generic user, tell you what, let's get this over quicky sticky. Just ignore it. Okay? I enjoy it. I found a way to enjoy it. We'll put it at that. Number two, when I talk about the tonality, please keep in mind I really don't understand the way that I perceive tonality. Maybe it's the technical mindset, maybe it's my job, maybe it's a multitude of factors. I don't see tone as oh, this is a G. No, I perceive amplitude. I perceive the resonance. I perceive every little facet of it. A G tone is not a G tone to me. It is not just a G tone. It's a G tone with so much amplitude put to it, or so many decibels. Then the resonance plays in, and how does that augment the tone? So tonality for me is something kind of different than other people. I'm Mommy's special boy. We'll put it that way. So please take the tonality bits that I go off on a tangent about in this video with chunks of salt. Fuck the grains, chunks of salt. Just understand, I'm far from normal, as I'm sure you all ascertained already. I just really wanted to put a really big disclaimer in the beginning of this, just because I don't want there to be any misunderstandings, as I've stated previously. So that's it. I've wasted enough of your time. Let's get to the actual video. Holy shit, look at me, I'm back. Well, I was never really gone. Okay, first and foremost, honestly, I'm sorry. For the title. What, you thought I was going to apologize for being away? Well, okay, I'm a little sorry about that. Okay, I'm more than a little bit sorry. But in my defense, if you join the goddamn Discord, I'm kind of always there and easy to obtain. You can get my attention as easy to... English is hard. That still hasn't changed. But no, really, in all seriousness, I am terribly sorry. I have been working on a lot of projects in the background, part of which, not entirely, only part of which we're actually going to broach the subject on, and we'll get into that. But first and foremost, something that really pickles my tickle, makes it real sour and not fun, is what that face that I just made means. Right. Look, I am sorry for the title. As you probably already know, I rarely ever use anything remotely clickbaity. In fact, I abhor clickbaity titles of any kind, shape, and motherfucking form. I absolutely, positively, fucking detest them with a burning, writhing passion that burns brighter than 1,000 suns coalescing and going supernova. Yeah, I legitimately hate clickbaity bullshit titles, especially when done in excess. And the fact that I'm doing one today, I would like to say, is showing off how much it impressed me. And even then, it's not clickbaity by most people's standards, but it's clickbaity by my standard. Point is, look, sorry for a bunch of shit. This is a hobby, not a job. I'm not looking to make fucking money off of this. I have a good career I have clawed my way into. Here's what we're talking about. A mess. Oh, a hot mess. The GT3 Superbass. We're going to get breaking form a little here. I know, we're doing all kinds of new shit. Look at us. The go, no go. We're just gonna break right into it. No, but also, yes. This one's got a lot of caveats that I need to get into. And I'm a little perturbed by them, and I'm only doing this off of the heels of getting no fucking sleep yesterday, and I'm not going to get any sleep today either. So, yeah, the no portion is very simply put, if you're an audiophile, fuck off, this is a no-go. Don't get it. If you're an audio freak like me, and you're a little more strange than that, then this suddenly turns into a go, especially if you fit into some of the very particular caveats that this seems to be for. Okay, so we're going to skip over the graph for a moment, and we're going to focus on one thing. You see that? They put it on both ends. Designed for musicians. Now, we're going to digress ever so slightly, and I swear it is entirely relevant, so please bear with me. This actually does deserve your attention, and the bulk of it will be mostly me talking. I work in a laboratory. To put it in broad terms, I'm a laboratory technician or a chemical technician for the purposes of qualitative, quantitative analysis. So, when something fails our specifications, the immediate thing is not, oh, it fails. It's, what did I fuck up? What did I get wrong? What was wrong with my technique? What was wrong with the method that I used? And that perspective, key word there, that's the kind of the hint I was talking about for later content. The perspective I have is strikingly unique out of a lot of the reviewers that I've seen. I am, by far and large, the only technical type of person that is employed in an extremely technical job, whose work feeds into multi-million-dollar contracts daily. Okay? So when something fails, we have to prove it fails. And I had sent this off to Dave, and I had sent this off to Intuit, and it failed for them. And I sat on it because I really didn't want to review them. I was disappointed. And then I had a few moments where my technique failed me. I learned I was wrong. I failed. I had to correct my technique. At work, is what I'm talking about. And I was looking off to the side, and I saw the box for these, and I was thinking, what if, knowing what I know now and having access to some of the equipment that I have access to now, did I fail these? And did I not go through the proper steps to give them the failing grade? Well, it turns out, yes, my technique needed some work here at the desk. These are the caveats. So, for your generic person, this is honestly a blatant no-go. I will tell you, do not buy this. This is not worth your money. So, you've got a little bit more about me, and I've reiterated myself. You can go. Thank you for stopping by. Discord join link invite thingy is down in the description and maybe comment, probably just description below. Come talk to me, please. Seriously, come fucking talk to me. You're more than welcome. For those of you that are actually legitimately curious, we're going to get into it. That for musicians part caught my eye because I remember on their website they bolster this nomenclature of designed for musicians. And working with a myriad of instruments I work with at work, it's right tool for the right job. A fucking musician's not just, get any old thing. They're going to get something that hits a target. They're going to go for something that works for what they are doing, why they are doing it. They're going to get the right tool. You see what I'm getting at now? Let's look at this graph, shall we? Now, I don't know how good their graph is, so we'll just say it's damn good enough. Yes? Yes. Lots of bass. Lots of bass. And at the 500 hertz region to almost 2K, audibly, yes, I can hear... Oh, press the autofocus, sorry. I can hear that dip. And even though it begins to ascend in the 2K region, it's still pretty recessed. And that's what this is for the normal listener. To best describe it, this is a diffuse field, bass elevated, not bass, maybe bass boosted technically, but it's an elevated bass, kind of, sort of, diffuse field that comes across more like a V signature. I know, right? Blew my fucking mind too. And that graph, I've got to say, it's pretty fucking spot on, because even there in the upper echelons of the treble region, I am getting things. Things are happening. So let's go to the other part that I took stock on. Come on, autofocus. Autofocus, please, 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 please. Thank you. Good cell phone. I don't have to throw you against the wall now. 84 ohms, typically measured either on dead or whatever impedance measurement tool you're using will probably toss through a 1 kilohertz tone of some kind or a signal or something. Not entirely sure. But basically, plus or minus 15%, this is 84 ohms. Basically, no matter how you slice it, it's above 50, above 60 or so ohms, and lower than about 100 something. The sensitivity is 95 plus or minus 3 dBs. 10 hertz to 40 kilohertz. Rated power 1 milliwatt, input power 5 milliwatt, that's probably their maximum. And, you know, I've learned recently that milliwatts is a really bad system. It doesn't fucking work for all the devices. It just kind of tells you what it needs to get loud, not to perform. And that impedance there, what did they say? It's a high mass voice coil. So it's got a lot of impedance to the motor's design, to the transducer's design. And I happen to have a myriad of high performance amps. The amps being the THX 887, the Gishelli Irish. Yes, it's Gishelli, I believe, not Gishelli. I remember watching an interview, and I believe they corrected the interviewer, and it was Gishelli. Go figure. The Gishelli Irish balanced amplifier, and the IFI, I don't fucking know. I'm going to assume IFI because the whole I jerk off from Apple. I jerk off. That'll be the name of a Japanese sex robot. Digressing, sorry. I have the IFI Zen amp. Zen can amp, as in the dedicated amp. No, not that bullshit. Fucking atrocity of a dumpster fire that is their Zencan signature for the 6XX. Yeah, sorry, IFI, if you kind of liked me before, I'm going to warn you. I don't pull my punches. Ever. However, I had made myself quite clear, if they offered something like the Zencan amp for not 250, in fact, below 200, as in below 200. We're not talking $199.99. Buy now. No, we're talking like the 150 to like maybe 180 range at my utmost. Well, fuck me, purple running sideways. $180. I'll be fucking damned. I got the launch edition that comes with their iPower 5-volt. Pretty fancy. Has all the bells and whistles. Power brick. And the funny thing about that amp, and we'll get more into that in its own dedicated review, but basically it has a somewhat adaptive but relatively high output impedance, and what it really does is it's a discrete Class A amplifier, and it fucking dumps the voltage over single-ended. And it fucking dumps! Yeah, did you notice the change there? Went from dumps to dumps! The voltage and the current through the balanced out. Holy fuck me running! Yeah, boy. Damn, son. It is legitimately that good. Basically, that's your dynamics wet dream if you have a high impedance pair of devices that are dynamic. Most of my planars play better with it on single-ended, in case you're curious. Digressing back onto the topic, I was like, well, what was it, regular GT3s are just like 70-some shit ohms? I look at these, 80-some shit ohms. Could be kind of a fun game. Let's play. And then I hooked it up. And then I had a chubby. Yes, your old wizardy buddy had a chode in audio form made physical. The elation was delightful, and it was very much worth my time, as per the demo in the beginning of the song from a Mr. Ben Prunty. Prunty? The guy that did the Into the Breach soundtrack and for FTL and Electrocrypt, cool shit like that. Really good artist. Oh my god, is he good. I was like, oh man, this sounds really good. No, using the treble one, so I get a lot more energy in the cymbalish region. Kinda, sorta. I went from, no, this isn't pretty good. This is really good. And I've had a kick of Tool, Tool, the band. And I put on some Tool. Say what you want. If you have Amazon HD Unlimited, go in there, search Tool, Tool, and play some of their music. In fact, just go to the artist page and start playing. Especially when you start getting to the Fear Inoculum album, their newest one. That blew my mind. They make amazing music. Seriously, the music they make is... I'm probably going to have to buy some of it now so I can just see on my foobar layout. Video about that later. Oh yeah, lots of hints coming. It just... I understood. Remember that whole right tool for the right job thing that designed for musicians? I got it. It clicked. In a lot of these studio environments, they're not going to almost always have amps that have a lower output impedance. A higher impedance device can soak up more voltage and more current, especially if it's a dynamic. And it makes it more compatible with, to the best of my understanding, traditional, and still mainstream, studio equipment. Having a higher output impedance kind of kills the need for an ultra-low noise floor. You don't need it to have an ultra-low noise floor with a higher output impedance, and you impedance match. Yeah, there's another keyword there. Kind of. And playing this from the balanced out, that's why you don't see its beautiful silver-plated copper cable it comes with, which is actually really not that bad. I have a balanced one. I have my 4.4 adapter over yonder, and this is for my Airish and my THX amp. And I really liked it on the reds. Didn't really like it on the blacks no matter what, and the reference grays were pretty good. And then I'm listening to Tool and I'm thinking, man, did I say these are really good? These are fucking awesome. And how are they fucking awesome? How do I quantify this for you? Well, simple. It's for a musician. In the mindset of a bass player, of a cello player, maybe even a lower octave viola, if I remember right, is a deeper sounding, more baritone violin, for an upright bass, for regular electric guitars, even acoustic guitars, for drums. Now you're catching on, children. I knew you were smart. That's what this was fucking meant for. This is not for the bass flunky, thump junkie. That made me feel a little dirty. Sorry. This is for the bass aficionado, the bass snob. Yes, the audiophile or the audio freak of the bass community. That's what this is. This is an extremely high quality bass with mids that, yes, are sunken. They're not, the technical term might be scooped, but when I think scooped, I think up and out. These are just sunken. These are inherently made to be less mid intensive. Because some of the better parts of the guitar for what this is targeting, the artist or the instrumentalist, the person playing the thingamablubber, does not need to hear the fucking mids. No, they want to hear how the string is working with the pickup. How does their pick sound on the pickup? How does the slap sound on it? How does their thumb, their finger, the nails on their digits sound on the string to the pickup? Or on the string to the resonant chamber on the actual tar of any kind. Sitar, guitar, you get the idea. Or the drums. Hearing the membrane, visualizing it in my head, vibrating. And hearing that they're hitting it off center because the vibrations are ever so slightly different on the decay of the instrument. And then you're hearing the chug and the pickup and the sound of the string itself being interacted with. And I thought, did I say these were great? Oh my god, these are amazing! The separation on these is absolutely positively not quite stellar. It's a shy bit of stellar. Stellar to me is when it works with over-recorded stuff or really loud stuff. That's when it's stellar. If it works and scales happily all along the gamut of the music available, this is just amazing because it really only shines when you have music that is a high inherent dynamic range. And oh my god, the separation. I was hearing things going on in different sectors of the music on Tool that I didn't realize were going on. There's a lot of different stuff, and I'm hearing little blips and bloops and then chugs and then thumps and then the different locations of the thumps on the percussions. And it occurred to me, oh my god, it doesn't just have separation. It actually has really, 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 really amazing imaging. I'm not fucking kidding. Like, it blew my mind. Now you kind of see why I had to have the clickbaity a little bit. Sorry. Yeah, no, really that amazing. It doesn't have a wide stage. No, it's a very much, it's not an intimate. There is no into me I see with this stage. And it's not holographic. But it's average to above average to more, less audiophile style music. Over-recorded shit, noisy shit. It goes to kind of below average to subpar sometimes, really. But that comes down to the mixing. That's the music itself. It makes use of what is there and doesn't add a lot of inherent width. It does a bit of depth, though, actually. It does depth kind of impressively well. I'm having separation, great imaging quality, and a reasonable stage that puts me into a small, virtualized, is the best way to probably describe the sensation, virtualized headspace scaled down, but to scale, you know what I mean? Like, it is that room, but it's to scale being shrunk down into a smaller format, a virtual format, kind of around my head, sort of. And yeah, it actually did really good. So if you're the type of person that is really unbelievably picky about your bass, this hits unbelievably fucking hard. It has that cinematic bass quality to it that I had mentioned the Fudai has, but it's more musical, oddly enough. I mean, it should be. It's literally the same bass driver from that they use in the Fudai is in this. And although a good chunk of the mids is sunken, it's not gone. The treble is not as sunken as the mids, but it's not gone. I'm hearing all kinds of fucking thump, rumble, bass. I mean, you heard what was going on. I'm hearing 30 hertz, 40 hertz, fucking blah, do its thing. And it's not just blah, it's thunk, 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 thunk. And then I'm hearing the sound of the pickup with a thunk, thunk, thunk. And then you have the pickup just going with the string, right? And then you have the bass just wob. And then I'm hearing little things in the background in the treble region. In like the 16, 15 kilohertz, 17 kilohertz region. And it's just little bleep, bloop, 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 little stuff like that. On Yoshi Horikawa's Starling's track, I swear I can count the amount of bounces, if I could count fast enough. I could count the amount of marbles. I can tell where they are. They're not far away, but I can tell where they are. I can tell how many there are. And when the bass starts doing its thing at about negative 50 decibels or so, maybe around negative 55-ish, I'm getting that bass. And my god, he makes some basic goddamn music. And you feel it down to your ankles. Oh yeah, I'm not shitting you. I am not shitting you. Down to your goddamn ankles. When a 30, not a 32, but like a 30 hertz fucking comes in like a fucking dump truck. Not a freight train, not a dump truck, a dump train. Yeah, a dump train. You feel it in your ankles. Oh, yeah. Yeah, now you're kind of getting how Farsil got the little toady toad. And, oh my god, to hear all these things separate while it's doing its thing. To hear Tool and to go, oh, yeah, the voices are sunken down a bit, but they're not the main focus. It's the instrument parts that are the main focus. That's what this is for. And hearing all of that interact with each other. But the voices are still there. Even though it's sunken, it's still perceptible. Very seldom did I have an issue perceiving the detail was there. It made it become, if it was already somewhat flattish or subduedish in the mix, yes, it became more of a micro detail in terms of perceptibility. Yeah, micro detail. Maybe a little bit bigger than a micro detail. And then you have bits of the treble where it was not just a micro detail I was hearing, but it was micro detail that sounded micro. It made you feel kind of naughty or special for hearing that detail, like, oh, this was hidden. It doesn't, on a properly made track, and this is kind of a cheat code because a properly made track will make anything sound good, or rather it will allow it to perform to its maximum. See what I mean? It has the highest dynamic range, so it is going to allow the device to stretch its proverbial digits and its legs and play you something fantastic. Hopefully. So, I know I didn't go my normal format, but it's like, this is just too much of an experience. And if you can get it, like I got it for was like half off. I think it was last Christmas. Yeah, last Christmas. It's almost been a full year. Yeah, legitimately, I would say it's worth it. Even if it's just money you have to burn. If you're one of the types that doesn't always have money to burn, seriously, no, just skip it. I really don't think you'll like it unless you really want to get into and understand what I'm talking about. there are more enjoyable, air quotes there, things for the subjective viewer, listener out there. But to hear this thing just rumble and thump bass, like especially in Yosei Horikawa, as I'd mentioned before, and hear the mids still coming through, because his songs are not mid gentle, not typically. The treble bits, not always trebly gentle, but to hear it all, and it separates into perpetuity almost. Like it just continually separates. I can pick out bits and pieces. This thing has got an amazing Attack and Decay. The tone of it, to the best of my understanding, is very natural. It's not real. It's not real. And it's not quite realistic, but it's naturalish. The difference between a natural and realistic is realistic would be a step above natural. Natural is just like, oh yeah, that sounds natural. That sounds right. It's better than the average. You know what I'm saying? It's better than the above average. It's kind of natural. Nothing sounds inherently off. Drums, especially. I'll skip the whole reiteration. All the instruments from before, especially. Vocals don't sound tonally off either. They do sound pulled back into the mix. And if that bothers you, well, yeah, I already did say skip it. If you are incredibly mid and treble sensitive, these are great, especially if you listen to music with an inherently high dynamic range, or just made properly, if you want to get into the semantics. So as far as the sources that really got me going, I mentioned I have the iFi Zencan. It sounded personal, and it could give me a lot of detail, but it was very energetic, very personal, a reasonable amount of width, kind of slappy. Better mids presentation, more slappy in the mids. The Arish takes a step back. You hear more of the sunken mids, but it's got a bit more punch and kick to it, and a bit more sparkly sparkle. The 887, kind of only something about its design. Everything just sounds wider. Everything sounds smoother. Everything sounds not quite as energetic. It did have a nice bit of pop and thump to the low end. Very much so, actually. I will admit, it was able to help the transducer do its job. But everything else felt a little too soft, a little too smooth. The Arish was the nicest balance between the three devices. A good betweener. A stellar betweener. Just a bit wider, wider than the Zencan. Not as wide as the 887, but not as lackadaisical in its energy, I suppose might be a way of putting it. And then it comes with three different kinds of tips. A biflange, ignore these. A biflange, a silicone, ta-da, and a set of foamies, three different tips. Red is treble, black is bass, gray is reference, gray is installed currently. I kind of like a mix of the red and the gray, if you're curious. The included silicones offer punchier, slammier bass with better depth perception to the bass. It embosses the bass. It makes it sound very V. The biflange makes it sound more diffuse, field, with a bit less emphasis on the sunken mids. The other foams you saw in there of my own personal collection, and the stock foams make it. I look at that graph and I go, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Sunken mids, but very nice ambient, ambionic bass. I think I just made up a word. Ambient bass, just very deep, very, very satisfying, not overly embossed. And then the mids, although sunken as I have continued to harp on, still have a delightful quality to. The treble is got this tinge of sparkle to it, just this slight shimmer of glitter to it. And if I was a bass player of any denomination, or a percussion player of major, typical delineations there, and I would probably enjoy this quite a lot, actually. So if you're treble sensitive, mid sensitive, this is probably your go-to. And I don't mean sensitive, I mean like you legitimately hear those parts of the signal more. You are inherently more predisposed to hear them. And to quickly touch on that topic, what I'm not saying is, oh, I'm treble sensitive, I have a problem with this kilohertz region. No, I mean, like, you have dog hearing. You physically, it is not just a problem for you. It doesn't activate a response that is typically negative. No, you are physically hearing those sectors better than the average human. So this goes beyond sensitive. This goes to acute sensitivity of hearing. Okay? This might be very much up your alley, is my guess. If you are a musician, as I had mentioned, this again might be very much up your alley. The only downside is you totally need to buy a balanced cable. The included one is fine, but they didn't sound as good on the Zencan of a single-ended. Oh shit, I'm a tired boy. And I still have to edit this too. Oh fuck. I didn't really like it on single-ended on the THX, but THX's single-ended was kind of like a afterthought. Kind of just a goo bazooka to the face. Props if you get it. This just shines better on balance. Not because it's louder, not because it's more actually, yes, because it's literally more powerful. It's per channel additional voltage. You're doubling the voltage on, typically speaking. For dynamics, as far as I can tell, they lack the voltage. They lack the higher OI, or a better matched OI to their impedance semantics. Planos seem to be extremely current hungry, and like the voltage next. Balanced armatures like voltage, but not as much current, so they're kind of like a dynamic, but they seem to enjoy a nice mixture of the two, but also need a really low OI. Yeah, I think I've done it. I think I have gone on. This is going to be a terribly long video, but these deserved it. Legitimately and totally. Oh my god, I just realized I didn't mention. Oopsie. So, to clarify, when I had mentioned way back at the beginning of the video that I had sent this to Dave and Intuit, it wasn't to make them Did I elaborate? Well, I'm gonna elaborate again. I didn't do it to make them fail. I did it because I just didn't feel like reviewing this, and then started the whole cascading effect that I described afterwards. I've said my piece. I now enjoy them now that I have the perception of what they are good for, the perception of what they were made for. That enjoyment is there. I see why they were made. I respect why they were made. I even enjoy the how and why they were made. Yeah, you're done good. You're done good. Children, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, Discord link will be in the description below. Hop on in, okay? I'm always available. Even if I'm not, you can always toss me a DM. Or mention me in chat. Tons of awesome people to talk to. Have a beautiful morning. A wonderful afternoon. And a lovely evening, my beautiful children. And as you slumber, may you travel far and wide within the realms of your dreamscapes, so long as it leads you back to me, your favorite, the Great Wizard, Farsil. My next video will be either a weird first impressions hodgepodge and an unboxing of sorts, because I have a goodie coming in on Friday the 28th, if DHL does their thing right. Hooray! From Linsol. I also am finalizing the review. I just have a few more things to take care of for the ESP95X. It was going to be a drunky review, but the more I played around with them and the more things I got, it deserves more time. So, with that, we're done. Ready, set, poof.